system, that the weather is going to change dramatically from the 89 that we had to a thunderstorm. Of course, the human T-Rex is on the ones and twos. Also, the Queen with the Gold, Mike J. Price, is here as well. So, how are you, Jay?
I'm good, Larry. How are you?
I'm good.
It's
so
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, July 20th, 2000.
Where did this month go? We are halfway through the year.
In some cases, unfortunately, hell in a handbasket. Early voting has already started for August, 3rd?
Yeah, first Tuesday in August.
First Tuesday in August. So before I continue, this this show was partially sponsored by Goat Movers LLC.
Who?
Goat Movers LLC.
Goat?
Goat Movers.
Goat?
Yes, Goat Movers.
G-O-A-T, Goat?
Goat Movers LLC.
Are they moving goats?
No, they are a moving company. The reason they call themselves the Goats is because they say they are the best at moving. So, if you want somebody
Greatest movers of all time?
Greatest movers of all time.
Okay.
These are young people. They started their business during the pandemic, and they have moved people from Ohio to Georgia. So
For real?
yes, they
Congratulations.
have.
I love to see black
Shout out to
babies.
shout out to my young entrepreneur, young king Alexander Jackson. So Alexander Paris Jackson and his
Good job.
and his workers. He employed his own brothers. So.
Now that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you start a business. That's how you reach back, as the old folks say back in the day.
Right.
That's how you reach back to the family.
Exactly. So
create that family wealth.
So if you want a move, Goat Movers, the email is goatmovers11@gmail.com. That's GOATMOVERS11@gmail.com. Telephone number is 216-224-7815. And yes, I am wearing the shirt on air right now.
Let me see.
Yeah, I'm
what
seeing.
It say. Goat Movers.
Yes, Goat Movers. Yes.
www.goatmovers.com.
Just go 216.com. www.goatmovers216.com. So the thing about it is that we're going to start doing While We Work Wednesday. So we're going to focus on young entrepreneurs as soon as we get all this election stuff out the way, because we need to focus on the people that are actually doing it from young to old. And Alex is 24. And
is he?
Yes, he's 24 years old. Yeah, so
that's what I'm talking.
So he always shout out to his mom for letting me know about Goat Movers, and gave me the shirt to wear. I had to wear it on air. I had to. The reason why I had to do that was because of the simple fact of the matter is that you support your young people. You support your people. You're supposed to. That's what the village is supposed to do. They got their own U-Haul truck. They pretty much own everything, and that's about it. So before we start with other things, we gotta give Glenda Lee our condolences. Right, Jay?
That is correct.
So
those that don't know, Glenda is my best friend. We have been friends for 40 plus years, and she lost her father yesterday.
Wow.
And I can honestly say, growing up, I call him Big Tommy, and he was the epitome of a man.
You talking about your friend living in Alabama?
She lives in Mississippi. She's in Florida.
My bad.
Yeah, she was in Florida. And her father, just a gentle giant. And every time I would go home to Mississippi, I would make it a point to go and see him and sit with him for a while. And I just talked to him Monday before he went into to have his procedure done yesterday, and they lost him, in the procedure. And when I tell you he was a man's man,
right,
and he was a provider, definitely one of a kind, and they don't make them like that anymore.
They don't.
So I'm gonna miss him, because every time I would go home, I would see him, and I'm definitely gonna miss his presence. And I know that, my best friend, she's a daddy's girl, and when I talked to her on my way coming here, she could barely talk, But, you know, I've been where she is. You know, I've lost my father as well. So, you know, I understand and I get it. I wasn't so much of a daddy's girl like she is, but I know how they feel. I know, you know, what's going, you know, I just know how they feel. So I just want to say, you know, shout out, you know, send the condolences to her and the rest of the family, and to say to Big Tommy, as I call him, we'll see you later.
Exactly. So shout out to Big Tommy, and, you know, Glenda, you have my sincere condolences. Always been a fan of the show. Been on here a couple of times before with you.
In the studio,
Yeah, so it is. Speaking of which, I have a picture of her. Happy birthday to Candace Johnson, standing ovation cleaning.
I saw that.
Yeah, so happy birthday to her. So let's get right down to brass tacks, because there's some other things that have come up about certain former council people. But before that, I know that, you know, the Sesame Place thing. Now, the characters of Sesame Street had a little parade. You know, Sesame Street was made for African American people and brown people, but some of the African American people and brown people were being ignored at the Sesame Place parade. So, T-Rex, did you play that clip?
I just found that out too. That Sesame Street is made for black people.
Yeah, it was.
And they got the scoops from Harlem. That's crazy. All that. That's what they got on that from. All right, let's play this clip.
All right.
Langhorne will now undergo special training as part of the park's response to a now viral video that was posted online over the weekend. You may have seen this video. It was posted by a mother showing a character there at the park appearing to ignore her young girls who are black. They were asking for high fives there. The woman who posted that video said the costume character went on to hug a white girl right there in the area. Well, several new videos have since surfaced appearing to show similar incidents with that very same character. After an initial statement calling that incident a misunderstanding, the park issuing an updated statement acknowledging that what happened is not okay and committed to making things right. The children's mother talked about what happened this afternoon, saying she's heartbroken.
The fact that this even happened, the fact that this is even going to be a core memory for them when it comes to Sesame Place is absolutely disgusting and unbelievable to me.
The lawyer for the family says they plan to fight for justice, adding that no 6-year-old should be forced to live in severe distress after leaving a Sesame Place theme park.
All right.
So we suing now? We suing? We getting ready to sue Sesame Street?
Well, you know, Sesame Street was made to teach African American.
We getting ready to sue Sesame Street.
I think that's what they're talking about, suing Sesame Street right now.
What color was the person under the costume?
I don't know what the person. I don't know what the person's color was.
I need to know that first before I give any type of analogy. I need to understand what was the complexion of the person under the under the costume. But we suing Sesame Street?
That's what they talking about, suing Sesame Place. The thing, yeah, pretty much. The world is about to come to a screeching halt when Sesame Street is accused of racism. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Don't let Oscar the Grouchy this.
Oh God!
Just don't.
I'm tripping. This is a world. This is a trip, though.
We getting ready to sue.
This is a trip.
Sesame Street. Y'all hear that?
Sunny days, keeping the clouds away. On my way to where
Why y'all messing with Big
air
Bird?
is free. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? and they want to, but remember, Sesame Street always had a black. Remember Gordon, Maria, all of them.
Maria was the Hispanic.
Right, the Hispanic. They always had black and brown people, and Spanish and Latino, and all kinds of different. Luis, you know.
Oh, y'all forgot about Luis.
Yes, all kinds of.
But tell me, what color was the person under the costume?
I think the person was probably Caucasian, but I'm not for sure. We had to do an investigation on that later.
I want to know what color was the person under the costume before we go to suing Sesame Street.
Right.
And that was my country voice.
Right. I know, that's that Mississippi.
Man, I remember watching Sesame Street, and I remember watching Electric Company with Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman been old for a long time.
What is Morgan Freeman like? Listen.
Hey. What was the conjunction junction?
That was ABC Schoolhouse Rock.
Everybody, is that the
I
same
thought
show?
you were talking about Petticoat Junction.
What about they were talking
Petticoat
about the bill?
Junction.
The
Huh?
bill, that was the same thing. The
Same song?
Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah, it
Is
was
that
on
Schoolhouse
Saturday.
Rock?
Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock. So, but you know, when the days of
We getting ready to sue Sesame Street.
I don't know what the hell's going on right now. I'm like, dang, you know, this is nuts. I'm just saying it's nuts, you know. Speaking of, you know, but we'll keep on this story as it develops.
Stoney says, yeah, sue them. They were a part of the indoctrination.
Oh God, Stoney Simpkins,
Yes.
you already said that.
Yes. Like,
Okay.
We getting ready to sue Sesame Street, y'all.
Okay. So so speaking of goat movers, besides Alex, there's a DeAngelis Brown and Kalisha Watson who is part of Goat Movers. So they are all
Goat movers?
Yes, Goat Movers. Goat Movers.
Goat movers.
The greatest of all time movers. That's
I'm
what
a
they
goat
call
cutter.
them. They are the greatest
Goat
of all
cutter.
time. So, all right. Speaking of crazy stuff, recent developments have come up about former councilman of Ward 7, Mr. Bashir Jones, saying that he will probably...
You got his name right, because normally you say Bashir.
Bashir, I don't know what his name going to be now if the Alphabet Boys get a hold to him, because he might be in...
70214-895.
What? Wow, you just got the number already. Has he been indicted yet?
So listen.
Okay.
So, if you know anything about anything,
Uh-huh.
you know when them Alphabet Boys hit the street,
Right.
and them Alphabet Boys come for you,
Uh-huh.
you know that their case is locked. They got you. Because they ain't just going to be issuing no subpoenas for no reason. They don't play like that. And them Alphabet Boys been on the street since 2018. Remember when they raided City Hall?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
They didn't come here just because they came in for some tea and crumpets.
Well, one councilman who's now former of Ward 4,
He's trying to
Ken
get out
Johnson.
of jail. I saw that.
Yeah,
article.
he got...
He got health issues.
I guess he got... Well, of course you got health issues when somebody smack you around like a rag doll inside the jail because you stole money and you're old and you know that you probably not going to see the light of day until you're older than Morgan Freeman.
Well, see what had happened was Ken Johnson.
Uh-huh.
You should have stayed retired when you retired. You should have sat down. You should have sat down, as the old folks say. Sat down. Not sit down, but sat down.
Here's the problem.
See, I can change that voice. Says sat down. Just go sit down somewhere. But no, your arrogance and your ego got the best of you. And that happens to a lot of them. Their arrogance and their egos gets the best of them.
Well,
And they forget who pays them.
according to the thing, it has to do with the community block grant dollars that he got as a councilman, and he paid some people he wasn't supposed to pay.
Which one are you talking about, Ken or Jones?
Bashir. We're talking about Bashir. We're not.
I have always said, and I will continue to say, and I say it all the time on the show. You can go back and pull the show up from 3 years ago. I have always continued to tell these council people, be careful how you allocate that CDBG money, because they're watching. Our CDBG funds have gotten cut over the last 10 years because of decrease in population for the city of Cleveland.
Right.
We used to get upwards of $800,000, $900,000 per ward when we had the population. Now we're down to about $400,000. What these council people fail to realize is that CDBG block grant money is allocated, and it's very detailed in the HUD guidelines what those funds are to be used for. But for some reason, our good council people don't seem to understand exactly what that money can be used for. And that's the issue, and that's why they always get caught up. They should have learned by now, when them Alphabet Boys hit the street in 2018, look at here, we watching everything y'all do. But they get so comfortable, they get so complacent, they get so relaxed, and they think they nickel slick. But you ain't better than HUD, baby. I don't care if HUD don't know their own rules. He who controls the purse strings controls the narrative, and HUD controls the narrative. And when they send them Alphabet Boys up for you, you good as gone, boo.
So I'm just gonna see how long this drags out for real.
It ain't gonna drag out long.
All right.
He gonna seem like a canary.
So Natalie Fitton just said, I'm not surprised. I know it's a lot of overspending of monies when I lived in that ward, but what do I know? I'm just an old lady.
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah, developers. You know, here's the problem with what I have. Y'all, with any person, council, former council person, this is just my issue. You know that you're not, you know what the money is for.
They
You know
really
where.
don't. They really don't, Larry.
They
really
know where
don't.
the money comes from.
Well, they know where it comes from, but they don't take the time to understand what their role is. They don't take the time to understand that they are in a servant leadership. So, because you're in a servant leadership, the government is giving you money to be a servant to the community that you've been elected to serve in. So that money is to use for things around the community.
Like
and they
streets.
don't do that.
You know, that's the problem. And that's why you have, listen, I'm tired of the FBI coming down to city council, Cleveland City Council and Cleveland City Hall, like, you know, they just live there.
Why is you tired? They ought to be tired.
Because of the simple
They
fact
ought to
of
be-
it,
I mean, my country
we
ought to-
live in this city.
They ought
And
to be tired.
because,
they ought to be tired.
listen, I'm tired of the city of Cleveland being known for being on the first 48 every damn 15 minutes, okay?
You know-
And all the corruption that's going on, not only in the city, but Calhoun County. That's why you have low voter registration. That's why people don't want to vote
Now, we gonna
because,
change that narrative though. I disagree with you on that. I respectfully disagree with you.
okay, reason.
The low voter turnout. I respectfully disagree.
And why do you think there's low voter turnout?
Because what is happening is, and I've said this before, we have all these non-affiliated voters in the city of Cleveland. So what happens is, when there's a primary election and you are a non-affiliated voter, you don't get to vote in the primary election unless your city, community, county, city, community, your suburb, whatever, has an issue on the ballot. That's the only way you're going to vote. So if you are a non-affiliate voter in the primary elections, you either have to pull a Republican ballot or you have to pull a Democratic ballot. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to vote. So your candidate may be a Republican candidate that you want to vote for in the primary, but because you refuse to pull a ballot for that Republican, to vote, you don't get to vote. So by the time we get to the general election, everybody's so disengaged because in the primary, they didn't get a chance to voice or put their vote towards their candidate. Nobody really understands that. That's why we have such low voter turnout in the county, because we have all these non-affiliated voters that don't identify with the party, period. So we need to change that, because until we want to see change, and if we don't want to pull a Republican ballot, we don't want to pull a Democratic ballot, we're going to keep getting the same old recycled candidates that keep going in these positions.
Well,
we need a new party.
That partially proves my point, because of the simple fact of the matter is that people in Cuyahoga County are sick of both parties.
But you need to. So if you're sick of both parties, okay, and I get it.
Right.
And here's my point to that.
Right.
If you're sick of both parties, and you're not understanding that because you are not affiliated, you're a part of the problem. You're the reason why we keep getting what we keep getting. Because you will not identify with the party. If you want to see change, two things need to happen. You need to pick a party, or we need a new party.
Well, that's the thing. The thing about it is, okay, so
we need a people's party.
So you understand. We both understand the assignment. The thing about it is like, the reason why people don't want to pick a party because they feel like the Democrats haven't done nothing for the black vote. The Republicans will never do anything for the black vote. That's why they don't want to pick a party. So yes, they are like part of the problem, but the part of the problem is that they're so disenfranchised, they don't want to mess with neither one of the party. Hello.
But they're disenfranchising the whole process even more. Instead of so if you pick a party, okay, let's just say I'm a non-affiliate voter, but I know that some of my Democratic people are on that ballot, okay?
Right.
And I know that they got some change that they want to see happen.
Right.
When I take my little non-affiliated tail to the polls,
Right.
and I've studied it, I've studied the ballot, I know who's out here, I know who's running for what, I'm gonna go, you know what I'm gonna say? Let me go ahead and get that Democratic ballot. I'm gonna pull a Democratic ballot because I need to get who I want to see to the general election.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the general, when I go back, I'm gonna say, I don't identify with no party. So you're gonna get both parties on your ballot anyway.
On a general election, understand?
Yes.
We understand that.
So pick a party, people. I don't care if you don't like the Democrats. I am a Democrat. I don't like us either. But I also,
But wait, do the Democrats, do they be looking out for you? Like, is this something that the Democrats did to make your life better, Jeff?
no.
Okay, so
Next
it's like,
question.
So it's like, I got a question. Who the lowest voter term? The lowest voter. What's the word? Lowest voter.
What party has the most voters?
No, the lowest on the race.
What do you mean?
Like who shows up least to the vote polls on the race side?
Democrats.
On the race side, like
Race, like
race.
you mean
like
black
ethnicity?
people, white
Yes.
people?
The black folk.
No, Asians.
They don't have a dog in the race though. You know what I mean?
But they got more stuff than we got.
Because
got
they
Asian
come
stuff.
together.
Okay, that's what it's about.
So what they do is with
Right,
the
we-
All we
Asians,
do is come together.
We
and-
can.
and forget all that vote. If we come together, we ain't gotta go out here and vote in bed.
we are two.
Uh,
What's the word I'm looking for?
Somebody's calling in. Everybody
We're too
back to the.
downtrodden.
All right.
We're too against
All right.
each other.
Hello, RC. Caller, are you there?
Hey,
Hey, who is this?
hey, this is Melinda.
Hi, Melinda. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is the problem we're having right now. We've been blaming like political parties, blaming on the Democrats, blaming on the Republicans. I'm tired of hearing people saying that Obama didn't do anything for black people within 8 years of his presidency. But what have black people been doing for each other within the last 6 decades? We haven't done anything for each other. We haven't even supported each other. And that is a huge problem. And we need to come together as people, and we need to stop making so many excuses for each other, and we allow our own ignorance and arrogance to hold each other back, and we've been making too many excuses, and sometimes these excuses need to stop.
Okay.
Melinda, what are you doing for the community?
Well, I've been doing a lot for the community. I've been, doing a lot in the mental health community, and to me, it's like the mental health is really breaking apart. It's really falling apart, and I sense that right now.
Melinda, didn't you have a book signing this past weekend?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How did that turn out?
It was a good turnout, but I felt that it should have been doing better. But I'm gonna try to push it to do better. That's my focus. It's about black mental health. Our kids are dying.
What's the name of your book?
It's Know Why I'm the Crazy One. It's a true journal, Misfit of Society. It's about my life living as a child with mental illness.
So let me ask you this question. And I just had this conversation with somebody at work today, and he was a doctor, and he now works with the youth down at the Juvenile Justice Center. And he has a book coming out as well, and he brought up a very good point. Do you think that when you were growing up that you were exposed to lead? And that could cause...
so.
Okay.
But I did not live in Cleveland when I had that problem. I think at that time I was living in Asheville County.
Same thing.
But because it's an old house, and I've
Right.
been exposed to lead because I lived in very old homes at that time.
Okay. Because that's what we were
And I have
saying.
some with autism as well.
And that's what we're saying, that, our youth, our children today are exposed to lead. And what happens is they're exposed to lead while they're in the womb. And that just takes them completely, when they're born, they're already at a deficit. And then we bring them here into the world, and then we bring them into these houses. Because Cleveland has one of the oldest housing stocks there is, and we have an issue because we don't have enough lead inspectors, and we don't have enough lead abatement going on to get all of this paint and everything out of these homes that are in Cleveland. So our kids are still yet being, in these properties. They're still getting, lead. And when lead gets into your system, it's hard to come out. And it's causing an issue with our mental health with our young today. That's why so many of them down there at the Juvenile Justice Center have all these issues going on, because they have been exposed to an exuberant amount of lead that is taking their thought process away from them. So you can say, the guy gave a good example today when we were talking. He said, the youth today, you could put a rope in front of them and you could put a snake in front of them. Before they identify with that rope, they're going to identify with the snake, because they have no reasoning. Their mind is gone because the lead has taken away from them on how to really process and really figure out things. That's our issue in the black community, and that's what's wrong with our children right now. And even with some of us as adults, that's an issue. So she's absolutely correct.
A lot of our adults are being diagnosed with schizophrenia
because of it.
Contribute to lead poisoning, and that's what it also has to do with our thoughts. We experiencing hallucination. We have ability to act out with violence because of the symptoms of schizophrenia, and we're not getting the proper treatment, and we're not getting the proper resources, and then we don't have enough representation who can understand the symptoms of schizophrenia and what it's doing to our bodies. And you know what? And these medications are not working, because those medications, our body is rejecting those medications because it's killing us. And that's why you got abortions that's going up in the black community, because we are overly poisoned by lead. And it's fetal deaths.
Right. And she's right. When she made the point about, and I've said this before on the show, and I'll continue to say it, she's correct. President Obama, I didn't agree with all of his policies. I didn't. But people cannot blame him, because we as black people, we don't think beyond that point. So when we got a black president, we thought we had arrived. We in the White House, we control things now. We didn't. We was just getting to this train station. We didn't do our due diligence to help President Obama appoint somebody to the Supreme Court. We didn't help President Obama by putting people on the local and the state level that looked like us, that was fighting for us. So we didn't give him nothing to play with. The hand that he was dealt, he had to play it, because we wasn't helping him as black people. Because we was too busy saying we gonna paint the White House black.
All right, I have a question.
What's wrong with us?
Here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. How many years since Obama been out of office?
It doesn't matter, though.
People are still blaming Obama for stuff that happened how many years ago?
But it doesn't matter. But we can't blame him, though.
Right, but folks will still, the thing about it is, I agree with you, but the thing about it is that how long before we do take the initiatives on ourselves to get out of the mess that we are in right now?
You know what, Larry?
It started with integration before 1960.
Yes, thank you.
So,
thank you.
Melinda, I would like for you to talk about the book and bring you on the show. If you are available in the evenings from Wednesdays from 6 to 8, I would like for you to, I am inviting you back to come on and talk about your book. What is the book, and where can we get the book from, first of all? What's the book title and where can we get the book from?
I got some copies with me. I can bring some copies.
You wanna bring some copies? Okay, that's what's up. Yeah. All right. So I got you. So I will 216-556-4836. You probably already have my number, but I just want to make sure you have it again. So make sure you give me a call around about 8:30 tonight when we get off the air. Okay.
All right. You take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the book signing. And the next time you gonna have another book signing?
Yeah, it'll probably be in the future.
Okay, I'll make sure when you have it, I'll make sure I'll be there. So I will be there and make sure that. And Natalie Fitton said hello.
Tell her I said hello too.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
She brought up some very valid points. I mean,
She
she
did.
really brought up some very valid points. And you know, we as our own ethnicity, we have got to learn to work together. You know, Willie Lynch is real. The Willie Lynch syndrome, that's real. We can't get around that. But we as black people, we don't work together cohesively. We are the only ethnicity that doesn't do that. You got the good clear people. They may not like each other, but when it comes time to bond together, they do it. When you look at the Jewish population, when it's time to come together, they do it. Look
Asian
at the
people.
they come together.
Tristan
The
said
Koreans,
it. T-Rex
they come
said
together.
Asian.
The Arabs, they come together. Every ethnicity but us.
But the only thing in our defense, we was the only race that was brought over here involuntarily.
Some of us were brought voluntarily. Some of us was because we owned our own.
So
Let's acknowledge that, because some of us that look like us owned people that look like us.
So did everybody else. You got some white folks that own white people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
our everything is wiped out. Our history is wiped out. Our lineage is wiped out.
we allowed it to be wiped out, because you know why? And we can look back at it and say we allowed our own history to be wiped out because we didn't want to learn about our history.
But then again, all these laws is not made for us.
But how do we
The
how do we
justice system
circumvent
wasn't
that and
made
get
for us,
around
period.
that?
Together, but don't nobody
We
wanna
got
get together.
to put people that look like us in these seats. But not only do they have to look like us, they got to understand
They
what
have
they're
to.
fighting for us. We need to ask. We get together and we start marching and we do all this extra stuff, but we never come to the table with the ask.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think life is fair?
That's something you take your child to.
Say it again.
That's something you take your child to. Affair. What you take your child to.
All right, so let's go on break. WNRV1081.com.
Am I right?
Nerv DJs on your Nerv.
Am I
We going to break right now. We're going to break. Shout out to Natalie saying we got to work together. We're only ethnic group that won't come together, and we got to do the
Thank
most.
you.
Stop doing what we need to do the most. All right,
We do the least.
we do the least right now. So the thing about it is, this is one of my favorites. Rest in peace to Heavy D and Levert, just cooling.
Oh, just cool. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going. All right, we'll be right back out of these messages.
Affair is something you take your child.